It is time. We're here with Call of Duty once again this Saturday afternoon with some NACE or College Varsity League action. We're heading into the winners finals as we are pushing through this playoff bracket, and it is getting as spicy as ever. Once again, my name is Seymour. Alongside me, joining me back on the desk is Crozen, and we are hopping in with some hot matches. Jesse, how you feeling?
We're back. That's all I'm gonna say. I think I missed a great day of COD yesterday. Unfortunately, 2 different 3-0 matches went through. But you know what? You had the beautiful McCornmeal on the desk to join you, so I knew you were being left in good hands for the day. But you know what? I'm back here today. We get one match on the board, and I mean, I think we're in for a really good one. We got our winners finals coming up.
I mean, it's like you leave me with corn, and it's like some. It's good hands. It's pretty like gentle, goofy hands, I'd say. When it comes to.
He definitely has a gentle touch.
You know what? We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that for sure. But we're hopping in, Jesse, as we move on forward with this one with the winners final matchup. We got Davenport University versus the Northwood esports side of things. And the Panthers versus the Timberwolves is looking to be a good one. You got a hot run walking into a walking extinguisher, basically. The Davenport Panthers yet to drop a map inside of the playoffs, but I mean, they have a little bit of history with the Northwood side, and their history is looking pretty bleak.
Yeah, it definitely is not the prettiest of history. I mean, and you know what? That's great way to put it, that you're a team that's kind of been on fire, but you're now running into the fire extinguisher that is the Northwood University, because these two teams, they've played twice before this season. They played once all the way back in week 1, where Northwood was able to take the match in 3-0 fashion. 10 weeks later, they meet back up in the Midwest Conference Championship, where Northwood once again take the match in a 3-0 fashion. So all 6 maps that Davenport has lost this season have been to this Northwood University roster. And I mean, Northwood's just had their number. I plain and simple as that. The maps haven't been the closest of maps, but Davenport, they've hit their stride recently. They look to be on another level. And honestly, if there was ever a time where Davenport was going to be able to come out and take maps and take a series off Northwood, I think it would be right now with how hot this team is playing.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we talk about the past. Well, let's talk about the present. I mean, this hot streak definitely should be one to kind of boost their confidence going into this matchup a little bit more. And, you know, coming off like last week was conference finals. So they recently played Northwood. And with that game, it should be able to have a lot of VOD to go over, and especially, you know, going through this one, you've now boosted yourself into top 3. You have at least $1,200 earned as a team. That's a good feeling right there, Jesse. So for your Davenport University, I mean, you are feeling great. You are feeling composed, and you're looking for revenge now against the Timberwolves. Let's hop into the maps. Let's take a look at this series, because this is one where we were talking about, you know, Vito's might be looking to take out the ARs or the AR-sided maps if you are the Panthers. We're headed to Berlin right away, so you can see that sneaking through. That Berlin should be one that's going to be a little bit dangerous for the Panthers side of things, but then we get a Bokar search and destroy. They looked good on that yesterday versus St. Clair. A Gavin 2 control, and if this goes the distance, 2 Tuscans back-to-back for map 4 and 5.
Yeah, I know it shows 3 Tuscans there, guys, but don't worry. It is a Gavutu map 3, and honestly, that's probably the map I'm worried the most about right now for Davenport, because like you said, we were really looking at at Davenport as an overall and saying, hey, you know what? We think that in terms of ARs, that's probably where this team probably falls behind the biggest to this Northwood roster, because Northwood, I mean, you've got so many players on this team that literally could run any role that they want to, that you know they're going to have solid ARs on the side of Northwood. But when you look at Davenport, they want to keep things fast. They want to keep things as quick as they can on the map, keep things scrappy. And, I mean, you're going to get that on Berlin. It will be a quick, scrappy map for sure. Tuscan as well, another one of those maps inside of that second hard, or inside of our first hard point, that, I mean, it's going to be able to get a little bit scrappier. You'll have some longer range engagements, but mostly for the most part, it'll be short, scrappy engagements. And then obviously you get that Bokaj search and destroy to come in, which again could end up being some longer range engagements for sure, but also a lot of scrappy engagements depending on how you play that map. So definitely not the worst map set overall for Davenport, but that Gavutu coming through really does kind of worry me for that control.
We look at maps 2 and 4, and, you know, for Davenport yesterday, they played the Saints on those 2 maps, and both found success inside of Tuscan and Bokaj for both the search and the hard point. So if you're looking at the Panthers right now, it's playing the long run. You know, it's making sure that you can hold on to the later end of things. That's when I'm looking at it. I mean, you said it yourself, Panthers, they thrive in the aggression. So that's what you want to do. If I'm looking at any players on it, I mean, it has to be Gecko on my mind. You know, yesterday, it was Corn and I talking about Gecko, the MVP against St. Clair. You know, the fact that he can keep up the aggression. He was making clutch plays in the search as well as the control. And he was just making sure that he kept that high tempo up for his team to go to use. And alongside him, Anthrax, you know, a player that you can trust to be right there with the aggression. So the two of them, I'm looking to keep the aggression on the Panthers side. I mean, it's not going to be easy, especially when you have the Timberwolves, you know, a team that is very well might just be the #1 team right now with Collegiate Call of Duty. The fact that they dethroned Bay State yesterday on stream, it's not going to be an easy one. Northwood's a tough team. They're the best of the best right now when it comes to Collegiate Call of Duty, and you don't expect them to just roll over like we saw yesterday in the Davenport versus St. Clair game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing when you're looking at that whole kind of Northwood versus Bay State, who's the top team in the game, well, they're 1-1 against each other right now, right? And there was a win inside of CCL for Bay State. Now inside of NACE, we get that win for Northwood yesterday. So, I mean, realistically, you can't really pick a #1 still, in my opinion. I feel like they're both right there, and whoever shows up on the day will probably win that match out most of the time. But when it comes to this match, again, this is kind of an underdog story for Davenport coming into this one. They desperately want to get a win against this Northwood team, and I think it starts with just being able to take a map off them, build up a little bit of confidence, start to bring some of that momentum in towards the back half of the series. But if you come out and you get absolutely smoked in map number 1, I mean, this could be a very quick 3-0 series where you just have no confidence, you have no momentum going into any of the maps, and Northwood will take full advantage of that. I mean, you've got Bink, who played extremely well yesterday, probably one of the best days that we've ever seen from Bink, and it was against Bay State, a very, very tough opponent. Chris Radio played very well last night as well, especially inside of that Gava 2 hardpoint, so look for him to pop off maybe inside of that map number 3. And then, I mean, even Infinite last night had some huge clutches inside of the Search and Destroy. So if we can see this Northwood team come and hit that same form we saw yesterday, Davenport will be in a lot of trouble. But here we go, already into the match, right off the rip. It's going to be a big fight on the outside. Anthrax wins a big one-on-one, and now everybody looking to just get some positioning inside of this hill one.
It's time to cut the chit-chat. It's grind time, Jesse, inside of offices, and look at this feed. It's all Panthers so far. Radio looking to swoop in and take control, and he does with a quick 3 in a row. It's going to breathe the breath of life into Northwood's lungs for this hill number 1. 25 seconds still to play for, and the fact that you let Northwood in is going to be a tough one to retake.
What's crazy is Davenport get the better spawns to start this game off. Everything's looking good for them, and then Chris Radio comes in. He's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna just pop a 3-piece, push my way into the hill. We'll get in fine, and oh my god, I'm a curse. I'm just simply a curse. As soon as I start talking, we drop from the game. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We'll try to get back into that one as quickly as possible. Hopefully, we don't continue that game all the way out, because yeah, that is an unfortunate one to drop from. It was looking like a really good start to that game. Davenport had an okay break off the rip, got a couple seconds, and then once again, Chris Radio just said, "Hey, who's your daddy? I'm gonna come in, pop a 3-piece, and walk right inside the hill."
It really did feel like that for a moment. I mean, you say it was an okay breakoff for Davenport. I think that's probably one of the best breakups you could expect.
Well, they had a good breakoff, but the fact that Radio
Northwood
pops 3 hurts, right? So
it's one of those individual moments that you can't control against a player like Radio. Those moments are going to happen, and you know, when you're Davenport, to work off a quick set of points so early, you know, get control of offices and hold the better spawns, I think that was a good moment for them. You know, I was really looking at the rotations to be in their favor if they can get that P2 under control. That's when we can start seeing a little bit more success with those spawns going in the favor of the Panthers. But, I mean, you're right. I mean, Radial popping in there, 3 kills in a row, taking control of offices. It's just another day in the life here for Northwood. They know what they need to do. They know they're the better team going into this matchup. I'm sure they've kind of been boasting about it to each other inside of their comms. But, you know, if you're Davenport, you need to make sure that those pop-off moments that you're talking about, Jesse, are limited, because you expect them to happen. You know they're coming. It's just how much can you keep them subsided?
Yeah, for sure. I think playing against this Northwood team really reminds me of a Optic Gaming team back in like Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, where at this level of COD, especially when you look at this Northwood team against anybody, you know that any one of these 4 players can pop off at any time during a map you're just waiting for, right? So that's the big thing. That's the scary part about this team, is like they don't even need to necessarily have like the best individual teamwork all the way through that, and then they could still end up winning a map because somebody just pops off and goes on a huge spree, and there's just no answer to it.
Well, I think that's why I'm glad to see a Bokar Search and Destroy for the map number 2, Jesse. I mean, we always usually talk about ways that a team can, you know, maybe sneak one away from their opponent, especially in a best-of-5 series when you're trying to bat up to another side of the league. And the Bokar Search and Destroy is definitely a place where we can see the aggression take control for Davenport. We saw Anthrax and Gecko both yesterday in a position where they were making sure that they were hitting those flanks, taking control of the game, and really keeping St. Clair on their back foot. So I'm glad to see that Bokar Search and Destroy map number 2. If you fall inside this Berlin hardpoint, it takes a little bit of weight off my shoulders, understanding that Davenport, they do have a fallback plan for map number 2.
Yeah, you have some comfort, right? You have comfort in the fact that you know you won this map yesterday. And wow, look at that. Our observer's doing a fantastic job already getting us right back into this game. And attempt number 2 here, Colin. We'll get to go back at it. Davenport, once again, will start off on those better spawns. Northwood starting up in the train yards. And once again, we'll get a brawl here in Berlin.
Can it be as clean as it was last time? Back and forth. Big finds 2. Can't find a third. It's going to be still scrappy inside of the offices until Northwood, they get the better end of it. 2 players now set up in shop for the remainder of this time. 35 seconds left to can see that Davenport, they want to set up for a break, and here they come. Sheldon, Anthrax, they open up with 2. Still slow to the draw. Infinite working on the cut off. 2 players to retaliate. Davenport, they fall flat on their face, but it's not done yet. We still have players here to contest with that kill from Infinite. It should be the scrap time here for Northwood.
And Infinite's on 4 in a row as well, so we got to keep our eyes on that as this game continues to develop. Looking at the rotations, though, over towards P2. It's looking like Northwood has a decent amount of numbers here. Anthrax, the only player for Davenport, will end up falling. So, I mean, you hold on to the spawns that you want to if you're Northwood as well. Towards the end of that, you get a majority of the time. I'd say that's a very successful team on there for Northwood.
Top third, Fame hunting this last remaining player in Gecko, who's finessing their lives quite well, but too little too late. He's going to be caught by Radial, and look at this play from Bank. Set up P5, watching the rotations off spawn. It's hard for Davenport to get anywhere close to this hill when you have Bank cutting you down from the middle of the map, and then Infinite looking through the boards in the wall. He is just picking them apart. 7 in a row from Infinite. That's going to be streaks on the hand for Northwood for the remainder of this game, and look at the time accumulated, Jesse. 69 to 10 points. This is a smoke show at the start of Berlin.
Yeah, it's a really, really good start to the game. You can see Davenport's trying to put a ton of focus on trying to now wrap their way through the bottom side of the map over towards the burning building to try to get inside of P3. They want to be the first team here. They want to be the first team set up so that they can start to try to bring their way back into this game, because if you keep having to rotate into teams like Northwood, which are already at the new hill, already set up and ready to go, you are never going to find success. You need to be the first team in a lot of these situations on rotations, and unfortunately you just lose a ton of gunfights there, and you will still have Northwood here with the closer spawns.
You got patience from Infinite in the back to hold those spawns. Squads will spawn up. Davenport don't want to let up on the gas just yet. Still sieging out the players here. Chris Radial, the only one close to this hill, holding off to the dock side of map, but 36 seconds. Sheldon tucked away in the corner. Up Bruce Radial, snaps back to the front. Nice string of kills from Davenport. It's going to be 3 down, and this is a good plot, or good setup now to collect time.
A big answer back from Davenport. I mean, you're able to not only get a decent chunk of time in terms of scrap time off the old hill, but also the fact you can turn this into new time here. You really have been maybe contested for 20 seconds here on this hill, but for the large majority of it, it has been in control of Davenport's hands. They've been able to hold on to a good chunk of time here, bring themselves back into this game now, only down right around 50 seconds. But heading back over towards the train yard, over towards our P4 hill, you can see Northwood there just put a ton of focus on trying to get this rotation on the lock, and this is going to be a tough break for Davenport because you've got a full setup here for Northwood.
Tough break from Davenport, but they are in the back, so warehouse spawns could be in their control. You got Chris Radial looking to hunt them down, gets eyes on the first. Infinite to help him out. It's a 2-for-1 in the back. They know Sheldon's still here. Spawns for Davenport all the way on the opposite end of the map, so all alone is going to be Sheldon in the back, but he is thriving right now. He finds not just 1, but 2 to allow the Panthers on in, and as soon as they do, they get the door shut right on their face. They lose 3 in a row. Gecko now is in a position that Sheldon just saw all the way in the spawns of Northwood, and he is alone. Look at this. 3 go down again.
Wow. The
last 15 seconds, it's looking to be picked up by Northwood before P5 opens up.
The funniest part of this is that Northwood basically never fully had control of those back spawns because Davenport put a ton of focus on trying to lock down the back of the warehouse. Well, Northwood just never really cared. Anytime somebody came around that corner, they said, all right, we'll see you later. And now you find Northwood up 100 points here heading in towards our P5 hill. This hill, very, very scrappy. Hard to get a good amount of time on it, but Davenport, they will do their best because they absolutely need some time here to bring their way back into this game. Even more importantly, I think, though, than getting time on this hill, will be locking down the spawns on the left-hand side of the map. We saw off the start before the restart that Davenport did a very good job of holding on to P1 spawns and being able to hold on to the start of that round. Well, once Northwood got control of that office hill in the second restart, Davenport was just not able to break back in, so those spawns are going to be so crucial in the second set of this game.
And Jesse, this is what you would expect from a team like Northwood going up against Davenport for map 1, for a respawn. I mean, we talk about how Davenport, their aggression, it's a little bit more scrappy than Northwood's, and their efficiency to rotate through the map, to patiently play for the spawns, to patiently play for their teammates to pop off for a moment. It is just elevating them to a level that Davenport were not ready for, and this is so clean throughout the map. You got Fame with full streaks, Infinite with full streaks, everything in your favor, and the efficiency out of this team for every rotation, it is just too much to handle sometimes.
It is just absolutely gross how good Northwood are at this game. Now up 150 points to this Davenport Panther team. Another 4-man feed. They push out towards train yard. They think that's where the spawns are coming very quickly. They realize that they are not. All the arrows should turn around quite soon. They absolutely do, and now everybody focusing up on upper courtyard, and they should still be able to pick these players off as they're coming off spawn here.
Some big falls, but enough damage for Radial to pick up North. Shots onto Sheldon, swaps the MP40, can get one, but not the other. The Anthrax for the break, and he holds on for a little bit longer. Enough time for his teammates to get in for the rest of the scrap, but 201 to about 60 after this time gets collected. It's a race over to P2. You can see player number 5 is going to be there. Looking to turn up is Gecko. Good for 1. North holding those scrap time, and Gecko finds a second as well. So 3 down for Northwood for the rotations. A chance now for Davenport to hop in and set up.
That's big, but you can see close spawns that come in for Northwood. They can reinforce this hill quite quickly. Radio's in a position where he can hop right in and try to stop this. Will quickly get answered back, so Northwood's still trying to set up for a pinch here.
Slow. But they're getting set up. Infinite opens up the back door with 2 kills. It's Sheldon to hold on more for 1, but let's get traded out early. 31 seconds, Northwood. You can't win it here, but you can get close. If you're Davenport, you don't want to let that happen. You have the spawns for next. You know you can push into this hill and remain with those spawns, but 3 make it 4 go down. Player number 4 makes the overextension. Infinite draws those spawns to Northwood, and now Davenport, they are on red alert.
Yeah, Davenport's on the run right now. 10 seconds left inside of this hill. 20 seconds left needed for Northwood to be able to win. And Northwood is locking down the left side of the map. Davenport, you gotta go. You gotta touch. Northwood only needs 18 seconds to close out map 1.
This seems all over. Fame's gonna call in the glide bomb. You get so much information that the players, they're just flooding on in through the front of it. Glide bomb finds nothing, but you know, everything is funneling through the front. 7 seconds left. Here comes Davenport, and here they fall. 4 go down. Northwood, it's a 100-point club to open up the winners final.
250 to 84. You cannot ask for a much better map there for Northwood. And Davenport, they absolutely would have loved to have seen if we got to play out that entire that entirety of map number 1 before we had the reset. Unfortunately, a scan and repair did end up coming through, and honestly, they could have just killed all the momentum from Davenport that they had, because like we said, they had a decent start off the rip, a much better start than what they did in that second replay there, because Northwood came out firing. It looked like they just knew everything that Davenport were going to try to do, which makes sense because they had just played that same break off 30 seconds prior. Northwood able to answer back much better, get a great hold on P1, and honestly, it was the rotations from P1 to P2 to P3 which really kind of put Davenport in the dirt.
It was every single rotation, Jesse. I felt like, you know, Northwood, I was saying it during the game, they just look so much more efficient for the rotations. You did see the trust that, you know, a player like Infinite was going to get back there, draw those spawns into their favor, and, you know, most importantly, hold down for those ARs to set up in those positions. And that's why I wanted to see Davenport veto out maps like Berlin. Maybe you wanted to prioritize getting rid of a Gavitu and a Bokar, so you didn't have the scrappiness of having to over or outslay a team like Northwood on a Bokaj, or, you know, the AR is definitely going to have a bigger impact on the Gavitu. But you go to Berlin, you get that, I guess, 50-50 game for those submachine guns to have a little bit more leeway, and you just couldn't hang. You just couldn't hang with the rotations. Every single time we saw a rotation to a hill, Northwood, they were either the first ones there or they were breaking within 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Either the first team there or breaking within 15 seconds for sure. But, I mean, you know what? Davenport, you know, they started to bring it back a little bit towards the end. They started to, you know, show a little bit more fight. It was just unfortunate. It just was not enough. Northwood just simply is built different. This roster, very, very talented, top to bottom, and everybody played very well. You didn't even really have to invest the streaks that you had there as a backup plan in the hands of Infinite. Fame, I believe, used his at the very end there, but it just didn't even need to find any kills with it because you just got so much information. You were just able to drop absolutely everybody. Now going in towards this Bokaj search and destroy. In your opinion, Colin, does this become a must-win map now for Davenport?
It has to be. It has to be the map where you bring this one back, where you're able to slow down. Well, not so much slow down, but have more impact on the kills that you get. And you know that, you know, players like Anthrax and Gecko on this map, we saw it yesterday versus St. Clair where they beat them 6-3 on Bokaj search. You saw those two players, they like to play it fast. And, you know, against a team like Northwood, I don't know fast is the key to it, but, you know, playing for First Bloods definitely is going to be it. So you're looking at them to either keep up with that pressure or maybe slow things down, be a little bit more patient and play for those First Bloods. And, you know, this is doable for Davenport. You found success on this map yesterday. It has to be where you find success on the map today as well. I said at the start of the show, if you're Davenport here, you look at the map set, you want to play to get to maps 4 and 5, and this is your way to get to map 4, this map right here.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to come out with a victory here on this Bocage Search and Destroy. Davenport, they looked so good on it yesterday, but Northwood Search and Destroy yesterday as well. Might not have been this map, but a fantastic display against Bay State in that 6-1 victory as well. So definitely no slouches on the side of Northwood. This will still be a battle here inside of Bocage.
Infinite slips the line. 3 go down. Sheldon last alive. In the blink of an eye, he's stuck inside Grandma's, and he's got no help in Radial. It seems like he got a little bit of information that he was behind enemy lines. He turns around, he takes him down, and that is a fast round for Northwood.
That was an extremely quick round for Northwood. They absolutely just sent everybody out towards that right-hand side of the defensive spawn, pushed out of the tank side towards Grandma's, and just found all the kills that they needed to. Plain and simple as that. Very, very quick, very dominant first round there, and you've already got Radio on 2, you've got Bink on 1, Infinite on 1, a very, very clean round, only losing Fame in the process. We'll see. Davenport can answer back with a good defense of their own here, but looking like Northwood wanting to push out over towards this A side. Infinite going to take some early shots down, and he's got some help with Radio, and Radio will find his third.
Excellent teamwork from Infinite to call to Radial to help that out for the First Blood. Gecko again in an aggressive position. It doesn't pay off like you usually see from these players. You get information on the second towards B. Tagged up was North. Bink this time to shut it down, and Infinite is providing so much watch and so much information to these players to just keep on flying. Anthrax is last alive in a 1v4, now 1v3. It has to be an ace retake for them to find the round.
Well, if you want anybody on Davenport to do this, it's probably Anthrax, but he gets spotted immediately through the bush. Will find the first, though, so great heads-up play onto Bink, but instantly has to just wrap back underneath that tunnel, and they know where he is. They absolutely have every bit of information you need there if you're Northwood, and I mean, a 1v3 is hard enough, but a 1v3 in that situation with the bomb down in that spot in the crossfire, it's just so impossible.
And you look at where Fame and Infinite are just sitting. I mean, it's a 50-50. You either look to the left or you look to the right, and if you take one down, it doesn't matter. You're getting shot in the back if you're Anthrax. So that's an unwinnable situation, and Northwood going up 2-0. And what did I say, Jesse? The aggression of this team, it very well could be the downfall of the team. Gecko, he gets right in front of Barn, and it's First Blood to Northwood.
I feel like Davenport just need to take advantage of the aggression that you see from Northwood. I mean, if you sit back and just let the players run into your line of sight, could work out very well in your favor, and North will be able to find the first off some aggression here from Northwood, not expecting the second as well. And you know what? I mean, if you're Davenport, you've got a wide open A bomb site. Let's get this bomb down and let's try to close this round out.
Well, you look, they've completely flipped the map now. Northwood on the Davenport side and Davenport on the Northwood side, and it's Infinite last alive in the back spawn. You should know where he is, as he did take down North for that only kill on the board, and it does. You see the arrows are all looking towards that barn. He peeks out for a moment to lose his life. First round on the board for Davenport. They answer back with a strong round. You call it yourself. They wait patiently for the aggression of Northwood, and it pays off in their favor.
Yeah, Northwood with a little bit of a weird call there, too. I mean, they sent, what, 3 players in through the B side of the map and tried to go on a triple flank. It's just a little bit different than what you're normal to seeing on defense. They're trying to throw a different look at Davenport. Unfortunately, just does not pay off here. But we'll see what Northwood decides to do back onto their offense last time through. This is an extremely quick push over towards this A side. Looking very similar to that once again here in Anthrax. One more time up inside the top window watching the cross.
Sheldon, if you find a pick here, this would be huge. Spots out Radial, and he gets out. First blood to Davenport, and it is going to slow things down. It forces Big to get aggressive through the middle of the map, and Anthrax is going to answer with a kill onto him as well. Did get traded out, but that still leaves Davenport in a 3-on-2.
Big answer back from Davenport, doing a good job, taking advantage of that Northwood aggression like we were talking about, like we were hoping they were going to be able to do here, but they've completely backed up since then. Now Northwood opens up the opportunity for this bomb to be able to go down. And honestly, with the bomb down in the spot where they have it, they very well could be able to watch this and be able to clutch this round up now.
It's got to be Infinite. 1v2, bomb is down. You have the time in your favor, 36 seconds, but I'm sure...
And he got out.
I'm sure Sheldon knows. Yeah, they spotted Infinite up top. Drops on down into Grandma's. He's completely making the wrap through this. Nobody's hopped the bomb just yet, so Infinite has plenty of time to make this. He finds North, makes it a 1v1. Hops right back in. Swaps sides. Sheldon bamboozled a little bit, but it's not going to fool him for long. Sheldon doesn't see him on one side. It has to be the other side, and he's going to clutch up in the 1v1 to get the defuse.
It's a big gunfight there from Sheldon. Almost a clutch there, though, for the side of North. What a 1v3 would have been pretty ridiculous inside of that spot. But once you get the bomb down there, there's so many spots that you can check that bomb from to be able to try to find the kill on either the player planting or somebody watching over. But Sheldon, great heads-up play. As soon as a teammate falls, gets off the bomb, wins the one-on-one, hops right back on, gets the defuse. Way to go. Able to close that round out there and able to tie things up for Davenport. And it's been a great answer back after losing those first 2 rounds very quickly on within the search and destroy.
You didn't see it, Jesse. Yesterday on Desert Siege, Infinite, he was that guy. So, clutch was definitely possible there, especially with him on the board. But, ooh, look at this. Gecko. We're going to get fancy through the middle of the map, and he's going to catch Bink with the door open. And that's why we taught you to lock your doors in a dangerous neighborhood. You know, look at the answer back from Fame. Does leave us even in a 3-on-3, and Sheldon's in a pretty unfortunate situation right now. You are already towards the A side, so you're kind of decided that the A side's got to be where you go, and you need to find something to open this one up.
Oh, great catch, though. Gets a good angle, able to drop radio up inside of the top, but Infinite goes massive in the bottom of A, able to get 2, leave Sheldon all by themselves on 4 in a row, and honestly, if you're Sheldon here, it might just be time to play streaks.
4 in a row, could be 6 with the clutch. 34 seconds, you hop up top here. It's going to be a cheeky area. Infinite gets spotted, dropped to 52, but he's able to slip. Now you know where Sheldon is. He's making a ruckus through Grandma's, but it's going to be the A side. He's got to win this gunfight, but no, he can't. A little bit of cover from the bomb, and Northwood are going to go up into the lead once more.
He got them into 2 different isolated one-on-ones here, and if Sheldon wins this gunfight out, there's a very good chance he can get that bomb down before being challenged by the second player, but unfortunately just ends up losing out the gunfight. Northwood takes the advantage here, Colin, once again inside of this game. Northwood's been looking very, very good. Davenport, they are shining at times, though, so definitely still not out of this one, only down 3-2. Feel like you can't go down 2 rounds, though, again, to this Northwood roster. I feel like you need to keep this within a round as this game continues on. The further and further you fall, the easier and easier it will be for this Northwood team to be able to close this game out.
Looks like aggression again through Grandma's. Gecko in a 1v2, and he finds both.
Massive.
That's bomb down. Northwood in a 3v2. You have to recover that bomb now. It has to be a Black Ops mission into Grandma's.
Oh, and Gecko. He's the player assigned with the mission from Davenport of keeping that bomb safe. They know it's down. Gecko's still just sitting here inside. Bomb will get picked up, though. See if Gecko decides to make a move, and it does not look like it at the moment. And Fame, actually, with a God nade, will find a second kill in the back of the spawn. It's going to tie us up at 1-1 or at 2-2 here, and bomb does go down.
Peekaboo. 1v2. Oh, North, you want to finish your food there. Both players now, you know where North is. You have the time to burn. You had to wait for North to come to you. Fame on the Godhead. You can barely see him. I know we have literally X-ray vision, Jesse, but you could barely see the top of his head right there. Fame was in such a good position to take down North. 1v2 like that, you would have wished you got Bink off of that bomb.
Yeah, I was literally about to say North. If he gets that first kill onto Bink, can play that completely differently because you can wrap off that. You don't need to sit on top of that spot on the back and play whatever advantage you have, but unfortunately you just don't get it. So then you need to take that second gunfight, and Fame was just in a perfect spot to be able to shut that down. And now Fame on 4 in a row. Definitely need to keep our eye on that, and it's looking very similar to our round number 2 defense here from Northwood, where they are just sending everybody through on the flank, and unfortunately they're going to get caught out twice by Gecko once again.
Big double kill there. Bink. It's a shark in the water.
He could play massive spoiler here.
Bomb goes down. He's in a position to spot them. Radial evens us up, and now it's time to fly. MP40 in his hand. He's burst through Grandma's. You got the corner for Sheldon, and Anthrax is over in the old bomb site. 29 seconds. Anthrax got a cheeky hole. He can see this bomb. Doesn't really need to move. It's got to be Radial to make this play. Into the door. Knows Anthrax going to be there. Burst through the wall. He's going to find the first. Sheldon the second. Chris Radial to fly, but it's Sheldon to line them both up. A big clutch out of Davenport again.
Wow, Sheldon just has so much ice right now inside all of these gunfights, able to take the first, and this was 2 gunfights won, Colin, in that spot with an automaton in that small close range gunfight against an MP40. So big wins coming in from Sheldon. That's 2 rounds now. Sheldon has been able to clutch up for this Davenport roster. I mean, he is keeping them in this game right now.
Can you do me a favor right now and read the note I have in our book on Sheldon?
It says Sheldon was an AR turret yesterday on the hard point and on Tuscan, almost solo holding some hills. Well, I think we're seeing it again here.
This guy is a turret on the map, and he is holding Davenport into the search and destroy so far. Now, you look at this play out of Northwood, it looks like they want to dip their toes to B, but it has to be slow. They need to get North down. He gets the information, he backs up and plays his life, and that should force some of these red arrows now to transition.
It absolutely should, but it doesn't look like it's going to start to move everybody over yet. It's only Anthrax, the only player trying to make their way over, and unfortunately won't find the first on Infinite, so needs to try to commit to find this gunfight. Will end up falling with Bink watching over, and now it's going to leave us here in a 2 versus 2 as Sheldon gets the trade on out. Gecko finds another, so Gecko and Sheldon continuing to go absolutely massive in this search and destroy right now for Davenport.
Oh, Sheldon is unstoppable. You'd think Chris Radial, if everybody would have the ice to shut this one down, but Sheldon again to win the last gunfight, evens us up, back on the search and destroy. I like the play from Northwood. Take a shot over at B. You get North off that first blood, you get that bomb down, but a lot of resources were burned.
Sheldon and Gecko are combined 19 right now, while Anthrax and North are sitting on a combined 4 at the moment. Gecko and Sheldon are the only thing right now keeping Davenport inside of this game. A very well-rounded effort coming out of the entire side of Northwood at the moment, but you can see Davenport really relying on 2. It's working out well for them right now, and Sheldon now with the possibility of being able to find streaks for the 2nd time inside of this map.
You know, this team has got the camaraderie. They've played a lot together, but they did enough to climb the hurdle of Northwood. First blood's going to be in their favor. Taking down Infinite, opening up A. Quick trades back and forth, but it's still Davenport on top. Big gets dunked on by Gecko. And that is the round completely open. It's Fame last alive in a 1v3. Will find the first, but here comes the rest of the teammates tumbling on in. Can Fame stay alive? He's got 28 HP. He needs to finesse his life. Slides on into Grandma's. He escapes. So still alive. He still has a chance.
Fame is such a hard kill. So good at finessing his life, and he may have just made the perfect read here as well. If he gets around the corner at the right time, should find the kill. But unfortunately, doesn't look like he gets there in time, and North will find it. Davenport on map point.
3 rounds in a row, Jesse. And maybe there was a chance there from Fame. He had the decisiveness to slip through tunnels, go to the B site, but he just didn't commit once it was there. North got the wrong timing in that situation, but it still paid off. And that duo that you said was falling behind, Anthrax and North left in a 2v1. They get it done.
They absolutely do. Everybody on Davenport really starting to show up right now, starting to play their best at the moment. Exactly what they need to do to go up against a team like Northwood. Everybody needs to be playing at their best. And oh my god, we've got a 3-on-3 gunfight going towards trenches.
Oh, Anthrax trying to escape. Fame says no. Gecko trying to stay alive, but it's a quick wipe to B. Sheldon can't get anything done either. A massacre on the B side. We're going to round 11.
Northwood just said, all right, you know what, guys? I'm tired of fighting at A. Let's all go towards B. They win every single gunfight. They don't drop a single player inside of that round. Northwood trying to bring the momentum back into their favor. They do not want to see the back half of this series. They don't want to go towards that Tuscan hardpoint. They don't want to see Tuscan at all because it would be the search and destroy as game 5 as well. Northwood, they want to get this done in 3. Starts here, round 11. You need to take this if you're Northwood. And we start things off with Davenport back on offense. Bomb heading over towards this A site. It's been their favorite site all the way through this game. Haven't really seen any B hits. And a Gecko and North find 2 huge nades to completely open up the A site.
Oh, Jesse, 1v4 Infinite last alive here to make something happen. He dips on down, but they have full control of the A side. The bomb is going down. Infinite, only so many moves you can make, but it has to be perfect to get this done. And on the back of the side, who else but Sheldon to cut him down? And that's Davenport evening up the series. 1-1, we go up to the search and destroy.
Well, they finally get that monkey off of their back if you're Davenport. You finally get that monster out of the closet, Colin. It's, I mean, there's so many different references that we could make, but Davenport, they finally do it. They finally take a map off Northwood. It only took them 8 tries all the way through this season, but it comes out of Bacage Search and Destroy. They take the map. At one point, they were down, what, 2 rounds, 4-2? I believe they were down 2 rounds twice in that game, actually, if we go all the way back to the start. Northwood had 2 different times, had a 2-round lead. But Davenport, I mean, the ice on Sheldon and Gecko inside of that game to catch them up and keep them going throughout. I mean, without those 2 players' individual performances, that game would not have been very close.
No, you're right. But, I mean, when the opportunity presents itself for revenge again, I mean, maybe first time, second time, it doesn't work. But that's why they say third time's a charm, Jesse. And you know what? The only time you fail is when you quit. And it doesn't seem like Davenport have quit just yet. We got 1-1 in the series, and that is definitely going to guarantee that map 4 that we have been longing for. The Tuscan hardpoint is going to be on the menu, but before that, we got a Gavitu control. And this is where things get a little bit interesting, because when you look at Northwood yesterday against Bay State, as we just keep on referencing to the series, it was the Radial and Bink show. And when you combine Chris Radial's performance on Gavitu Hardpoint with Bink's performance on Tuscan Control, and you kind of put it together now with one map, this is going to be a dangerous one, because those 2 players, you know that they can shine, especially in a game mode, map mode combo like this one.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard, right? Especially when you're looking at the AR battles, because they just are a step ahead in terms of the ARs. I mean, if Sheldon could pop off the way he just popped off inside that last map, you know there's always a chance, right? But it's not going to be easy. You can slow the pace down if you're Davenport inside of Search and Destroy. Control, you can sort of slow the pace down. It is not nearly as easy, especially on a Gavutu, because that A site or that A zone is just going to be hit so often by both teams over and over again on either offense or on defense. The only real spot where I see that you have a chance to maybe slow the pace down would be on defense on the B zone, where you can find a wipe, completely push the other team out, and make them have to come at you. So I think for Davenport, a recipe to success on this Gavutu control is going to be completely slowing down Northwood, maybe even chalking the A zone and just making sure they don't give up B early on their defenses.
I mean, Jesse, this is a map, this is a series that is definitely going to be a highlight for a lot of picks on, you know, rankings inside college Call of Duty, or just in collegiate Call of Duty in general. And when, you know, we talk about teams like Northwood and Bay State, you know, Ottawa even in the mix, a lot of the times 4 and on is just like looking through a keyhole at what's on the other side of a door. And, you know, a win in Search and Destroy has opened up an opportunity now for Davenport to really push Northwood through this series. And Gavitu control, if you can get control of the B site, like you say, Jesse, if you can allow this team to get some pressure going through the Panthers, I mean, you're going to definitely find some success. What was it? It was yesterday. No, not yesterday, but on Wednesday when we were casting over Davenport University versus Chattanooga back on Gavitu Hardpoint. We saw so much success out of this squad, especially from Anthrax himself. He pulled out that submachine gun. He was rocking the MP40, and he was always pushing the pressure on the backline. You were always seeing him running solo. He was always trusted to get the job done in the back. And realistically, Davenport, if they can find that trust, if they can find that camaraderie, I mean, they could definitely get done what you're setting up here, Jesse.
Oh, for sure. They absolutely can take this control. And if you take this control, it's great because it sets you up for not even needing to take a hard point off Northwood, which is what I think would be the hardest thing to do against this Northwood roster with just how much slaying potential they have on their team. I mean, you saw it in map 1. It was a 250-84. It was not a very close game.
No, it wasn't.
But if you can take the searches and take the control and get your way to that final S&D now against Northwood. I mean, you saw what just happened inside of that game number 2. They were down multiple times. They clutched up, they iced up, and then you went to round 11, and you got the double nade off the rip to be able to find 2 kills. I mean, it's not easy to do to take maps off Northwood, but Search and Destroy is probably your best chance. It's, I think, where we've seen them kind of fall hindrance to most times, especially when we saw them in that matchup against Bay State in the CCL. It was 2 Search and Destroys where you saw Northwood be able to drop those maps. So I mean, if Davenport can come out, they can take this control. Give us that final S&D. You never know. Davenport might just find themselves in the grand finals.
Here we go. Swing map mode combo. We got the control to split the difference. Northwood on offense first. looking for the A zone right off the bat. A little bit of tussle from their way, and it's Infinite to line up 2. A third from Radial. It opens up the A zone. They hop on, start collecting progress, stop the time at a minute 9, and now this is where things get a little bit dangerous. You got Fame going for top third, and luckily for them, North doesn't allow it, but a good opportunity from Northwood early. Shut down from Davenport for the retake.
And it doesn't look like Northwood will be able to get this first tick of progress over at A either, so starting to already lose that tick from Davenport, and Davenport doing a really good job of just stabilizing the A zone, not allowing anything to go through, even after getting 3-1 kills off the break off of this game here. So, I mean, a very good start. Now Northwood, they're trying to make their way back in, but again, just instantly shut down Davenport. They have an opportunity now to put Northwood into that spawn trap.
Well, this is exactly what Davenport wants. We said this team is aggressive, but they're aggressive in a scrappy way, and this A zone has been nothing but scrappy. Finally, you get a little bit of an overextension by Fame. Puts himself in the B zone, stops the clock at 34 seconds, looking to give a little bit of leeway for the teammates off spawn. It does look like the leeway will present itself as well. You get Bing to find 2. Opens up the cliffside now for push. You still have Fame collecting this first tick of progression over at B, and he gets it cemented. So this is where Davenport now need to split their attention. They have to decide, are we going to take down Fame, or are we putting everything to A?
Oh, and it sucks because Fame has a little bit of Overwatch now as well. Finally, though, will get naded out of the B zone, so not able to finish that off. And the good thing for Davenport is even though they gave up a tick of progress over at B, they've actually kept some presence over towards the A zone as well. So you haven't allowed Northwood just to be able to play zone tag, hop back onto A. And now Northwood only has 15 seconds. They need to get onto one of these zones to stop the clock.
It's now or never. Fame finds the kill on the Gecko, expecting the second from Anthrax, and he does read it right. 2 go down. They hop onto A. Working on that first tick of progression. It's going to be a stack for the moment, but Infinite gets cut down by North, and the presence from Davenport will be flooding on in. Radial, how long can you stay alive? Long enough to find 2. Working on the third. The teammates there to help. 3 go down from Davenport. A-zone now being collected as the second tick. Working on the third very soon.
The thing with this round, though, is you've only got 4 lives left now here for Northwood. So the likelihood of being able to win this round, not very high. At the very least, you get those 4 ticks of progression now.
Players left. Anthrax is dancing to the middle. Finally gets cut down. It's 2 for 2, though. It's up to Bink and Fame. 2 ARs on the side of Northwood, but Bink's going to get caught from Gecko, laying over P5. Fame now last alive. He's going to have to push all the way through. 1v6 this squad. And this is just a tough one to make it happen. They now know where he is. He's good for 2. I mean, this is doable. I know Fame's got that ice, but I mean, Davenport, are you going to let this happen to you? I mean, it's a real question. This team now needs to work together just to take this player down. And Anthrax, he's going to make the quick flank all the way around. He spots him from behind, puts up the damage. The teammate finishes it. It is going to be a Davenport round 1, but a costly round 1.
So 2 big things inside of that round that really stand out for me, Colin. It's one, very good round out of Davenport in terms of defense. You were able to shut down Northwood for all but up to the last 15 seconds. Basically only allowed them to get 1 tick all the way through that round. The other big thing there is for Northwood. I sort of touched on it during that round, but the fact that they're still able to get 4 ticks out of that round is massive because the final defense is still decided by ticks. If they only had 1 out of that, it would have been absolutely detrimental towards trying to get that final defense. At least with 4, it's still doable here towards the back half of this game.
Very much is, but off the rip, Davenport not opting for a B attack. Putting their early presence over towards A, and it's a 3 for 2 trade, so Anthrax will be able to slip into the boat, but now needs his teammates here to back him up. Fame's cutting off the rotation. North will go down, so Anthrax still on an island towards this LST ship. He needs to make a move at some point, but in this whole situation, Gecko, he's walked over to B. He's actually almost collected this whole tick. He isn't going to get it done, but he's allowed for 2 players to slip into A now.
Yeah, just the small overextension provides enough of a distraction now for the rest of Davenport to be able to hop over towards A, get onto the zone, and now actually Anthrax opens things up with 2 as well. So this should be the A zone done. If you're Northwood, you really can't afford to invest any more lives over on this zone now. You need to just start to wrap over and wait for these players to come over towards B.
Is done. No stack, so an opportunity will be here. Fame's going to find the opening onto North. Chris Radial is second. Back and forth trades. It's going to leave Davenport a little out in the open, and with 3 going down, that should shut down this attack to A. You still have 1 player lingering, but Binks up top deck. He's going to find the rotation from North. Still Gecko last alive. You need your teammates now. You need these reinforcements if you're Davenport, and Gecko has been holding off the players, so you can hop into this right now if you are Davenport. Maybe finish off this last tick of progression. You're just not fighting the one-on-ones, and that's what's costing you in the end.
I feel like that's a misplay from Davenport, Colin. I mean, you got the 3-man wipe. There was only one player left. You had every opportunity in the world to be able to stack this A zone, to be able to extend this round an extra minute and give yourselves a few shots of trying to break in towards B. But now you need to reinforce more resources, go over towards A again, and you've still got a lot of players over here for Northwood. Northwood could very easily just close this round out here now.
Only 2 ticks gained from Davenport, so you very well could end it here. Radial and Bink still holding off on this boat. 10 seconds left. Radial's found 3 infinite through the middle of the map. He's going to find the 4th with the help of Bink. Nobody in a position to touch it. It is a convincing answer back from Northwood.
And that's just a misplay from Davenport, honestly. Like, you get the 3-man wipe. I know I touched on it again earlier in that round, but you need to stack the point in that spot. There's nobody on Northwood in a spot where they were able to push there. Everybody was coming off spawn. If you 3-stack the zone, you get an extra minute added to the clock. Everybody pushes out, but they only had 1 player on the zone through that entire portion of time. And what happens is you only get 2 ticks of only 2 ticks of progression. You don't end up getting the 3rd to come through. Opens up an opportunity for Northwood to break back in. You give this team a mile or an inch, they're going to take a mile every single time. It's exactly what Northwood did, and they stopped that out, now leading the tick progression up 4-2 here. And if they get a win in this round, they'll at least guarantee themselves final defense.
Well, looks like they want to go to B right away, Jesse. Gecko on the flank. Can he shut this one down? Good for 1. A second one is there. He's going to read it in time. No. Fame still alive inside the ring. Still no number advantage, and Anthrax does seem like he's going to be in a position to clean this one right away, but off the respawn, Northwood, they make the heads-up play to go to A. Off the bat, they're looking to stack it, but only good for not even a tick here. Bink's forced off. He's forced to play his life and play for some kills. He will go down to a stun from Anthrax, and Davenport, they weather the storm early.
Absolutely do, but it's not over yet. Northwood's still trying to push over towards this A zone. We'll end up finding another kill. Fame is the only player really anywhere near this, and this might be one of those situations where now you need to send it an overextension, and it looks like Bink will be the player to do so. Needs to start to make his way up towards ring and maybe even over towards the B zone if they want to find an opening to be able to get into A.
Raxi is laying down. He is in the enemy line. He's got to play his life a little bit. He plays it long enough to find Anthrax. 3 go down. Radial now the only one towards the A zone. Looking to keep this clock stopped at 28 seconds, but he will be found by Sheldon. 24 seconds left, and now Northwood, realistically, you only have to go to A here. This is your only option. You don't have the resources to go over to B anymore. So you can see them now dancing around. They do get their opening. They're going to hop on. Clock stopped at 15 seconds, Jesse.
It's pretty detrimental now. Davenport, you need to close this out here. You need to stop them from being able to get these ticks of progression. Each tick just makes your final defense that much harder to obtain, but this should be the Northwood zone unless Gecko can contest in the right time. They'll get in, but can't finish it off, and that's the B zone or the A zone completely done. Now we wrap over towards B, and there's already a presence here for Northwood. Quickly cleared out. You got a minute 10. A big life lead for Davenport in terms of lives. I mean, it's not going to be easy for Northwood to be able to break into B here.
Will not be easy at all. You have the ARs now set up in the position. No forward positioning here from Davenport. It is going to be a good old brawl for these assault rifle players at distance. North and Anthrax, they find the first 2, and it's going to provide now Gecko a chance to push through beaches. Looking to take some players off of spawn. You have a 3 life advantage, 42 seconds. Gecko is in a perfect position right now to shut down the rest of Northwood. But look at them. They're totally getting rid of ring. They want to go through the middle of the map. They want to take control of green first. And Gecko, now he has to wrap so far through this building or through this whole map just to get a presence in the gunfight.
We'll see what Northwood can do, but they just keep falling apart at the seams every time they try to make a push towards this B zone. Davenport, they're just right there. They're right around to shut it down, and it is very important. They do not allow Northwood to get on to this B zone. They want to close this out here to give themselves their best chance of getting that final defense. It's going to be hard enough as it is, and you know what? They're picking off all the final numbers. This will very much so be a Davenport round win. So Northwood, they only finish off with 3 ticks of progression inside of that round column. It's going to leave them at 7 to the 2 of Davenport. Statistically, if Davenport want to get this final defense. I mean, they need to at least get 5 ticks of progression in this round to secure themselves a final defense.
Well, they just
because
need to
I
win
do
it.
believe they're up in kills at the moment.
It's either that or you win it here. If you're Davenport.
I mean, winning it would be great, but I'm just saying, like, if you get the 5 ticks of progression, you should be able to still get that final defense as well. They did enough in that last round.
Radial's gonna find Anthrax. 2 goes down. The start from Davenport, not what you wanted.
No.
All 4 players off the board, and look at the blue arrow surging on forward to take control of this map. They have the line of scrimmage now set up in front of the spawns of Davenport. It needs to be a solid break here from the Panthers if they want to get out of their spawns. Bink on the escape, 76 HP, won't be able to stay alive, but has a teammate to back him up. Infinite, not allowing these players to escape just yet. You can see Davenport off spawn. It looks like they now want to take a shot over to B, and with 2 players going down, realistically, there's an opportunity now to go to that B zone, but it doesn't look like they want to just yet, Jesse.
I think they realize that there's that opportunity, but also they want to just get some map control right now because they just really did not have a lot of it since the start of this game. And speaking of no map control, 4 go down once again. Another 4 life lead here from Northwood, and once again, they're going to push out and try to pin Davenport back in their spawn.
22 seconds left. The time clock is burning. And if you're Davenport, you don't have too many opportunities left to get a shot at one of these zones. Anthrax is going to hop onto A, stop the clock at 13 seconds. Radial quick to clean him up. 10 seconds left. It is a rush now from the rest of the Panthers just to try to get a presence on this point. Gecko is going to find Bink. Hopping onto the site now, 4.6 seconds. It's only 1 more wipe from Northwood to go to around 5. Infinite's going to be here to clean up North. 1 more player on the inside. It's going to be Gecko to go down to Bink. And Northwood keeps this going. We're going to round 5. Northwood on defense. Davenport on offense. And this is a tough show if you're the Panthers inside Gavin right now.
I think if you're Davenport here, you just got absolutely blown out inside of that last defense. I think you go for a full 4-man hit towards me. You throw the curveball here, Colin.
We talked about earlier, Davenport yesterday on Tuscan Control versus St. Clair. They went to a round 5 as well, and it was back-to-back defenses where they took the offense in that round 5. So Davenport, they do have the ice in the late game, but can they do it this time against a better team in Northwood? They get the opening draw. It's a 2-for-1 to open up the A zone. Sheldon, a third to shut down that flank. You can see the respawn for Northwood. Quick to get back in. Infinite cleans up Gecko off of that nade to set him up. And it looks like you want to keep this pressure here. Infinite is holding the line at A, and Davenport go back to spawn.
It was much better opening breakoff for Davenport, but Northwood off the respawns. They just invest all those lives so well. They get into the right positions to shut things down immediately. And now it kind of leaves Davenport in a rough spot. You will win a few gunfights through the middle of the map. You can try to get in towards A, but still the pressure is just too much right now from Northwood. It looks so similar to what we saw in the very last defensive round, where they just keep finding 4-man wipes and then pinning Davenport into the back of their spawn.
Infinite's turn now with the MP40 holding the line at the cliffside. Radial on the opposite. They have the chokehold on the spawns of Davenport. 35 seconds. It needs to be clean wipe for Davenport to escape, but Radial hiding behind a rock. He's going to peek out, puts the damage in for all 4 to go down again. And the Panthers, they are shaking right now, Jesse. Only realistically 1 more chance as a full squad to hit a site.
Oh, and you've got a player in Chris Rado pushing behind you as well, so this will not go well here for Davenport unless they find this player out immediately here. Hop onto the A zone. It's not over yet, but Infinite from the top will find 1, and they are just picking them apart at the seams. Everybody on Davenport starting to fall.
Every single time, it's just 1 by 1. Davenport, they cannot get control of the information on players. Here comes the Shrieks. They don't find anything, but they funnel back to Davenport players. Map 3, the swing map. It's all Northwood in round 5 as the defenses go back to back all Gavitu long.
Well, welcome to Gavitu, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely what happens often here on this map and mode combination. It's just defense for defense for defense for defense for defense. We saw it there 5 in a row. It's crazy. I mean, it's just so hard when you're playing elite teams to be able to win offenses against them on this map. Northwood's offenses looked a little bit better, and ultimately that's what ends up deciding the final defense. Davenport just not good enough on the offenses. I mean, you had a chance inside of that first round to at least get those 3 ticks of progression. You don't stack the zone. You don't find the points. Second zone, or the second offense for this Davenport roster, don't get a single tick of progression. It was not enough. Northwood's defenses were just way too strong, and ultimately what ends up deciding that final defense. And Northwood, again, they just come out very, very massive inside that last round.
I mean, it's been so back and forth, Jesse. So much blood spilled in the respawns, but it's mostly Panther blood. The Timberwolves, they're just so good inside of Vanguard. Like, just in general, the way they play it, the efficiency on the map, the way they handle map control, and the way they take it step by step as a squad, it's hard for Davenport to keep up in certain situations. So now you're looking to hold it all down in the last 2 maps here. It's got to be a perfect 2 from Davenport back to back if they want to see that grand finals. However, Northwood, only 1 for their side, folks. You're watching the Panthers versus the Timberwolves. It's the Call of Duty Varsity League's winners final. We're coming back soon. It's going to be a Tuscan Hardpoint. Here we go, Tuscan Hardpoint. Jesse, we said it's got to be the late game for Davenport if they want to take down Northwood, and we are hopping right into the action to see if they can get it done. Tuscan Hardpoint, it's not going to be easy, but it's got to be here.
Outside of the Bocage is probably the best chance Davenport have at taking a respawn off of Northwood. It's a close quarter map. It's a very scrappy map, but you can already see just Northwood's prowess alone on the map. Very, very talented right off the rip of this game. 23-0 and counting here as the score is going to continue to go up and now looking to make the overextension across the map to try to get these spawns here for P2.
Full control for Davenport on the rotations. Can they hold on? They have the setup in church. It's Gecko up top, as well as the presence over towards that top platform. But you see the Northwood players, they want to push through the middle of the map first. They want to dethrone Davenport from their own spawn, and when they try to, they get completely shut down by Sheldon. The big star from Search and Destroy already showing up inside Tuscan.
Oh, absolutely. You can see everybody now on Northwood. They're going to try to filter their way through all these small choke points. They will win a couple fights in the front as well, so this should open up some opportunity now to try to get into this hill, but still Davenport find all the trades, and Davenport hold the line strong.
It's the comeback that we were talking about, and, you know, speaking on this Davenport roster, Sheldon in general, I mean, his performance yesterday versus St. Clair College on this exact map is a performance that I expect to see elevate Davenport to a potential map win here to send us to a Game 5. So eyes are going to be on this player on screen to make sure that they can get this job done. Already working on the rotation. They're going to be the first ones here, but they have a player, Chris Radial, looking to shut it down.
This is a great play. A great rotation coming in from Davenport where they just send everybody on the flank, everybody to rotate over. And Gecko's watching for the overextension from the late player coming from hold. It's a great opportunity, but they lose all the gunfights on the front line. Close spawn still here for Northwood. They can reinforce the hill.
Sheldon catches the flank. It's all the front that you need to worry about, and Anthrax lines up both of them. Fame now in a position where he needs to play his life, top burning. They know he's there as well, but the respawns for Northwood. There's a pinch set up here with Infinite getting a split spawn here. The nade's going to set up. Fame finds Gecko. Infinite spikes it down. It's a break from Northwood to get back in.
And now you've got Davenport spawning exactly where you want them, all the way across the map towards the church portion of the map. It's going to be very hard to be able to break this, especially when you got Radio playing on top of that Fountain Hill. This is a very, very tough break to make at all, let alone against a team like Northwood.
See, Jesse, every single time we see Davenport, the first ones on the rotation, it's they're getting a little to Northwood getting a lot both times. Like, Davenport are walking away with a few seconds, but they need to do better at locking down these rotations. And here you can see them set up once more. They have control of Church, but surrounding them on all angles. Northwood looking for their way in, trying to pick them apart. Radial opens it up. Bink a second. Two out of the hands of Davenport. Northwood searching on forward. It's got to be a big play here from the submachine guns. Anthrax versus Fame on the inside, but it's got Bink to come on through to clean it up. The rescue plays from the teammates are there for Northwood.
And because Northwood hold those back spawns, the reinforcements just come through so much quicker. That was a pretty even gunfight inside a church, to be candid. But just Davenport don't have the spawns. Northwood's able to spawn close. Northwood's able to reinforce quicker, therefore giving them the numbers to hold onto this hill. It's simple as that. You do get one more attempt at trying to break this here if you're Davenport, but there's just too much pressure from Northwood inside the hill. They find all of the kills, and now the wrap over towards New is on. And Davenport, I feel like that could have been a very vital mistake here inside of this map, because now you're allowing Northwood to string together yet another hill.
Well, Davenport know what they need to do. They have to rush over to P5, but again, they lose the gunfights on the rotation. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Set up early will be Bink on the staircase, watching to hold off on these players. But that doesn't count for Gecko. Coming up to the bottom of P5, and look at that answer back to break in. Davenport, they find 3 down. All 4 out of the hands now. There's a good chance for Davenport to pick things up. You can see Northwood on the respawns, pushing through P2. Everybody's here to set up, and a flank from Infinite.
A massive break there, but again, the bottom of the staircase becoming the bane of existence for anybody who's alive inside of the hill as Bink makes the rotational play through the bottom, able to make the break, and now spawning Davenport out just a little bit more, giving more time back to the likes of Northwood. And this is looking very similar to our Berlin hardpoint right now. We're at the end of the first set of rotations. Northwood now sitting with a chance to go up by 100 points.
Already on the rotation, Radial gets spotted, but Northwood now with the early rotations. You can see Davenport struggling to keep up with the tempo. There's a flank from Sheldon. Shut down by Infinite. Anthrax going to get caught by Chris Radial, so all pressure now from Davenport is away from this hill. And Infinite's going to be holding on the front line. Another one in his favor. Nade is going to be caught in his hands, so Sheldon a chance to hold things forward. But all eyes going to be in the front of the hill, and Northwood, they are ready for it.
Yeah, Northwood absolutely ready for it. They know how to hold this hill. We saw in the first set of rotations, no time earned for Davenport on this hill, and it's looking very similar to that right now. Northwood, they just have such a clean lockdown on how they want to hold this hill, how they don't allow anybody on Davenport to sneak the line, and as soon as anybody starts to get into a spot where they can hop on in, Northwood's usually right there to be able to break in, but from the front, Gecko's able to find 2, and that's the break Davenport needs.
They they need it. But more importantly, you look at North on the minimap, and he's going to have a huge gunfight through P5. He's waiting for the player too. You know that Northwood are going to be on the rotations, but North, he gives up a little bit of space. He allows Big in. He shuts him down. Radial gets caught through the middle of the map, so Davenport on the rotations. Again, they're going to be set up here, but down by 60 points. It has to be perfect if you want to see a tie game.
If Davenport holds on to this, though, we will see a tie game at the end of this hill, and they were able to hold on to this hill for a good majority of the time in the last set of rotations. But now Northwood, with all the kills being found and all the kill feed going blue, this is a very easy break from the front, and they get the spawns up in the back.
Get the spawn in the back to get the break. Now Davenport spawning back church. They have to decide where they want to go. Gecko on the overextension to take control of radio. Everybody flooding through bunks from Davenport. You see that the play is going to pay off for the early 2-piece, but can they get into this hill? It's a big no so far, but Sheldon and Gecko find the last two. So Davenport, they do break on in. You still have Northwood spawning in the back, so Davenport has a good opportunity to get the rotation to P3 and set up early.
Now Northwood, they'll get this remaining a little bit of scrap time, but like you said, Davenport, they know what they need to do. They need to win this rotation over towards New. Sheldon had a big job of locking down roofs, unfortunately not able to do so, so rooftop spawns very likely now to go to the side of Northwood, and they can try to reinforce and break this one back.
Fame is there. I don't know if they know he's in the back line, but there are going to be players to watch, and Sheldon will catch him out. But look at that shot from Bank. 1-2, he snapped. Looking to play his life, but it's not going to be for long. It's up to the teammates to break from the back off the respawn. Infinite solo pushes in with a little bit of help. He is going to get the crack through the setup. And now 35 seconds. Then Northwood, if they pick up, they're going to be so close to putting away the series.
Player 7 and player 1 literally spawned beside each other, and Bink did not know that Sheldon was behind him. There was no way he would have, because of where he just spawned up. There was no way he thought there was a player flanking behind. And that opens up the door now for Davenport to be able to break through the back. They get the spawns. Exactly the break Davenport needs at this point of the game.
On the rotation. Gecko gets caught. Radial lets him know. A little bit extra love from the Northwood boys. They are in a position now to put away this map. Big finds one to snap to North. 3 go down from Davenport, and now a chance for Northwood to put this one away. The only player close is going to be Gecko. He has to cut this one short. He's going all the way into the back. You have a pinch now with Gecko. He's going to find a second. Slides on in. Not going to be ready for Radial. It's a 2-for-2 trade now inside. We are going to have a brawl inside the churches, but the brawl is the way of Northwood so far. 3 go down again. Anthrax has to make a play through the front. He's going to hop in for the contention. Can he stay alive? It's a no, and now 20 seconds, and this map is gone.
And it's very likely right now Northwood can close it out here. You've still got Davenport spawning out deep, and you've still got Northwood finding all of the kills at the front line.
Big's going to cut down the player on the front. 8 seconds left. Look how far Davenport are spawning up. Northwood Timberwolves. They're going to be headed to your Call of Duty Varsity League Grand Finals and bumping up their pay cut to at least $2,000 earned.
It's absolutely craziness there. Unfortunate for Davenport, they did not have the slaying inside of this map to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Northwood. Northwood was just way too good inside of the respawns in this series. It's just unfortunate that it comes out that way. And to be quite frank as well, Colin, I mean, if Northwood doesn't get double grenaded in round 11 of that search and destroy, it very well could have been a very different search and destroy, and maybe possibly a 3-0 here inside of this series. But you know what, Davenport, you got to tip your hat where it's due. I mean, they played a very tough series. It was not an easy job by any means for those Northwood boys. I don't think we would have been seeing the body shots after if it was that easy of a series. They wanted to let them know at the very end, like, hey, you know what, like, you guys gave us a good run, but we're just better right now. And it's just simply the fact Northwood is just one of those teams where it is just so tough to beat.
I mean, we talk about the whole bracket. It's a tough bracket if you're a team like Davenport. If you're in a team outside of Northwood and Bay State, I mean, this is not an easy playoff bracket because, I mean, if you're in the winner's bracket, you either have to play the Titan team that's walking through that one or the Titan team that's in the loser's bracket because, I mean, Northwood sending Bay State down yesterday is going to make sure that that lower bracket is going to be a tough one for anybody in lower round 3 to go through, Jesse. So, I mean, on both ends here, it's a tough matchup for a lot of these squads, and Davenport, they catch the end of the stick. That's Northwood up in the winners finals. They made it this far. They made it to top 3. They've guaranteed themselves $12,000.
$1,200.
So, or yeah, $1,200. I said
A
that
little jump up in
little
the
bit
pants.
lower. You know,
It's all good.
numbers are tough.
But absolutely. That's why I'm the color commentator, right? It's we know our roles. We do them both very well, right? That's why we're the duo. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, what more is there really to say about this series? I mean, a very, very good, solid series on Northwood. I think that the S&D could definitely be cleaned up quite a bit. Same with the control. But I think both the hard points looked very, very solid for this roster. I know, obviously, I wasn't here to see the Bay State game yesterday, but obviously the favorite to come out of the losers bracket at this point would be Bay State. If Bay State comes into this one in the next series, what kind of improvements do you think that Northwood's going to need to make to be able to go up against them again? Because you know Bay State's going to come hot again.
Honestly, I don't think there needs to be anything really changed in this sense. I think that vetoes were a little bit out of your favor against this match in Davenport. Davenport did a great job at making sure that they had a chance through the map vetoes. And, you know, if you're a team like Northwood going up against Bay State, which I'm sure that most of their practice as a team will be against, like, the Bay States and the Ottawas, you know how to work yourself around those teams. And honestly, you're going to be more prepared for a team like Bay State than you are for your Davenport. So I think if you're Northwood, you just look at the series yesterday, you know you've done it. Play like you did yesterday, play as a team, and make sure that you are just working the vetoes in your favor.
That's fair. That's definitely a very, very fair assessment to make. I think also for Northwood, I don't want them to come into that match comfortable, though, if that match does end up coming through.
I agree.
Because I don't want you to come into it thinking that you're going to come out and just 3-0 mollywop them again, because it's not very likely to happen. That Bay State team is a very good team. I'm sure that they're going to fix their mistakes going into a grand finals, because let's look at everything and how it is. We won't have our losers finals until Wednesday. Right, so if Bay State makes the run all the way to losers finals, that's still a lot of time to prepare until Wednesday. We still don't fully know when our grand finals day is going to be, because it's not on the same week and on the same timeline as most normal tournaments are. It is extended a little bit. That will give Bay State, if they do make it to that losers finals and win it, if they win that losers finals, it will give them a lot of time to be able to prepare for a grand finals against Northwood with a lot of VOD to go over as well.
Oh yeah.
So if I think that both teams will have a really good time. I just don't want Northwood to come into this feeling too comfortable. That's my only thing.
And I'm sure we'll be able to talk more with the interviewee as soon as we get them in here about how they're going to prepare for that grand final. But if you're one of the teams in lower bracket right now looking to make this run, no matter who you are, I mean, Jesse, you got to win not just one but 2 best of 5s against Northwood. So you have to
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
You don't have to do it once. You have to do it again after. So if you're one of the teams at a lower bracket, no matter who you are, even Bay State, I mean, that is not an easy disadvantage to go over.
Yeah, you completely just reminded me that it's a double best of 5 and not a best of 9 going into it. So yeah, it's a completely different. Yeah, I'm so used to it now with the CDL and how that all works out that I'm just not used to seeing double best of 5s. But yeah, that really does change the game completely. It gives you a much bigger advantage coming out of that winners finals, especially because say Northwood loses that first matchup against whoever they go up against. You just have the advantage to just go into the next match and say, hey, you know what? Screw it. Let's just veto those maps that we just lost and completely change the game going in towards the back half of a second best of 5, right? So it's a big, big advantage. It's an advantage I wish that we still had inside of the CDL. I'm not a big fan of the best of 9s myself, but you know what? The double best of 5, it's a big advantage for the team coming out of winners bracket.
And you know, Jesse, I don't want to count out, you know, teams like St. Clair, teams like Davenport, you know, and I think ICC is still in it as well. But at the same time is when you look at Northwood and how they're playing against Davenport and how much they just shut them down in the respawns, you would think that Bay State is the team that has the best chance at making that happen in a double best of 5. And for, you know, the grand finals, you would expect that if you're looking at a team like Northwood to get pushed, you would be looking at Bay State to be the team to push them. So, I mean, in the grand finals sake, if you think of anybody out of that lower bracket to push them to that double best of 5, it's got to be that Bay State roster.
It really does feel like it, right? And speaking on Bay State, I'm just looking over at the bracket right now, and Bay State actually did take a 3-0 victory over New Mexico State University today. So they have now advanced to losers bracket round 5. There is an update in the bracket as well on the St. Clair ICC match. It says St. Clair has gone through. We don't have any scores yet, so that's not a 100% yet. That could have been just a mix-up in the system showing that St. Clair has gone through. That did happen yesterday as well on the system before one of our matches, so that's not 100%, but it does show that it could very possibly be St. Clair versus Bay State in losers round 5. Winner will then go on to play Davenport inside that losers final. So it could get really, really crazy here if that does end up coming through, because I was kind of expecting ICC to take St. Clair inside of that match, but I think that all the teams that we have left inside the Call of Duty Varsity League right now, inside of our Final Four, I think that any of them can beat any of them on any given day. It just really comes down to 1, preparing for the match, and 2, coming out hot and being able to take that victory. We saw it in the CDL. We saw LAG come out and win an event that nobody expected them to win, and I will keep reframing to that as much as possible, because it does show you anybody can win on any day as long as you come prepared and you come out hot. Momentum is a massive thing inside of Call of Duty.
I mean, when you have nothing to lose, you're a dangerous team, and a lot of these teams right now against Titans, they got nothing to lose. But I mean, Jesse, you talk about that ICC versus St. Clair matchup, an El Clasico from the grand finals of last year's NACE grand final. And if St. Clair did walk away with that one, a little bit of revenge,
that's a rematch and a half.
Yeah, a little bit of revenge from the grand finals. You would have hoped that win came last year in Cold War, but I mean, you're going to settle now for maybe pushing a little bit farther and having a chance at Bay State inside of that lower bracket of things. And I mean, if you're looking at things in general, I mean, ICC, we saw them take a map off of Bay State. And as a squad, as a team in general, I would like to see them push a little bit farther and have another rematch, because that team, with a couple of changes, a couple of improvements, looking over the VOD from that Bay State match, I think that game could have been a lot closer if they had a few things ironed out.
For sure. Let me just refresh myself on what the score of that match was, because I believe it was pretty close, wasn't it? Yeah, so it just kind of refreshing back. If ICC does obviously win that match against St. Clair, they lost the 2 hardpoint 250 to 144 is a pretty close map. They won the S&D 6-2. They absolutely blew out Bay State in that search. Note, Bay State said that they were working on some things. I mean, I don't really care. It was still a blowout nonetheless for ICC. The control was really, really sloppy from Bay State. They just closed that out.
Right.
And then that final Berlin hardpoint was really where they had their number with the 250 to 150 win. So, I mean, both hardpoints really in Bay State's favor, but honestly, if ICC can beat them in both the searches and the control, it still very much so could have been ICC series.
100% it could have, but it doesn't look like we're going to be getting an interview, Jesse, so it's time to finish things up here on today's stream in the Call of Duty Varsity League. We get the grand final team, Northwood, guaranteed $2,000. Davenport falls a little bit short on today's winners final, and now looking at the loser side of things, St. Clair Saints versus the Bay State Bulldog. Davenport Panthers waiting for them up next. I mean, talk to me a little bit about these matchups, Jesse. I want to get your predictions, because I'm not going to be here tomorrow to see those matchups. I mean, how do you feel about it? I mean, is Bay State going to come out smoking against that Saints team?
Well, okay. Well, still, we don't know for sure if that's the way that has gone through. We'll wait and see for full-on confirmation from that. But, I mean, between ICC and St. Clair, I would have had ICC 100% taking that match. So if St. Clair won that, hands down to you guys. Still got Bay State, though, favored. I think in a matchup against St. Clair, against ICC, I would maybe give ICC a map or two. Still think Bay State closes it out and goes up against Davenport inside of our losers finals.
For sure. And then that Davenport Bay State, if it happens, hypothetically pulling strings. I mean, what you saw from Davenport today, if they were going up against a team like Bay State, just a sister team to the skill of Northwood, what do you need to see change from Davenport if they want to make it for a rematch against Northwood in the finals?
That's tough, right? I think the hard points. I think you need to at least take a hard point against one of these teams, because you've got the talent, you've got the skill. You just weren't winning all of your rotations, especially against Northwood in both maps. You got 100-point club in map 1, and in that final map, I mean, it was a closer map, but still, just it showed the lack of being able to win your rotations, and that's what cost you. So I think more focus on winning rotations, more focus on just trying to be able to slay out the other team, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to these hard points, if you can't outslay your opponent and they're just breaking you immediately, you're going to lose the game every single time.
They are. And it's not going to be an easy one, no matter what you do, no matter what improvement you get. So I'm excited to see when that does happen, but that is going to be tomorrow. Today is all done and dusted, folks. My name is Seymour. Alongside me is Cruz. I'm not going to be here tomorrow, but joining back on the desk is going to be McCormiel, and it's going to be a fun time. So hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a fantastic night.